3, 2, 1, go. Okay. It's 5:33. It's quite early. I'm just gonna make this video and then head to the pools for a lovely swim. Today is Tony's 40th. In the Lebanese Maronite community, for whatever reason, we celebrate the funeral twice. Or celebrate, lordy loo, look at the words that are coming out of my mouth. Imagine that, celebrating. Ugh. It's a hard day for me today. It's always a hard day. When you're dealing with family tragedies. But in the Lebanese Maronite community, when there's a death, we mourn twice. There's the funeral, and then there's the funeral 40 days after. And I'd love to hear why they do that. I know that there is a benefit in that you have an extra 40 days to process the pain and the hurt, then you go back to church. 40 days is supposed to be an opportunity for the family to really come to terms with their grief. And I know that I've come to terms with my grief, and that's okay. You know, a big part of death is acceptance. You know, Tony's gone now, but you know, it's only a few decades until, you know, I'll be following him, and his father's pretty soon, you know, pretty soon for this world. Not for this world. Sorry if my thoughts are a bit scattered and all over the place. You know, it's a hard morning. It's not a great morning to be reminded of the fact that so many people are still processing their grief. I think that today will be a good day. It will be a cathartic day, you know, for a lot of people in my family. You know, I hope that they are respectful, you know, not just today, but after today. Be respectful to Tony's family, who's been through so much, and they're still having to cop stuff. Yeah, it's really, really unfortunate. You know, when Tony passed away, I made that video. It was my eulogy for Tony, you know, because I couldn't go to the funeral. And by the way, it was no one's fault. It's me, my mental health issues that's preventing me from going. You know, whether or not anything happened with my personal life, you know, I probably still wouldn't go. You know, I don't want to be a burden to anyone. You know, I don't want to go to the 40-day funeral and spend that time being overly emotional, let's say, because there's still a lot of emotion that I have to process that is separate from, you know, the tragedy of Tony. But when I made that eulogy, I made some promises, you know, I said some stuff that I wanted to be held accountable to, and I haven't rewatched that video because it's hard for me to rewatch, but I remember the sentiment was that I'm going to try better, and I'm going to do it for Tony. And today, well, this week, I've been thinking about that promise that I made to Tony and to the Lebanese Maronite community in Sydney, and to everyone, really, that watched the YouTube videos, that I'll be a better person, that I'll try harder. And I think what my family took that to mean is that I'll be perfect straight away, which isn't reality. I'm not perfect, and I did a lot of things incorrectly, and I was still ruled by my emotions. Not so much anymore, but I did make mistakes along the way. But overall, I am so proud of myself for the 40 days. And I know that Tony will be proud of me, you know, because he's watching, I think, or I hope, right? And so I just want to think about all the, you know, beautiful, momentous changes that I've made. Really, the struggle that I was going through wasn't really with my family. It was with myself. It was my internal struggle with my own demons. 15 Otto Street wasn't a battle between me and my father. I wasn't trying to steal the property off him, and I wasn't trying to pressure him into giving me his half of 15 Otto Street. I mean, that's just absurd. Firstly, it won't work because he'd have to pay stamp duty, right, for to sell me my half, and he doesn't have the money and I don't have the money. It's just an assumption that the family made without speaking to me. And so they began to operate under the assumption that I'm trying to steal 15 Otto Street from my father, because that's a lie that my father would have told them, and they would have readily believed, because they were looking for a scapegoat to blame for all of the bad investments. The battle was for me to be able to speak about this sort of stuff coherently, and I achieved that. That's why I'm going to continue to make the podcasts and the YouTube videos, because they're beneficial to me and to the overall Maronite community. And they're only upsetting a very, 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 very small number of people who ought to be upset with what I'm saying, because it reveals my side of the story, right? And they don't have to believe it, and no one has to believe it. I'm not forcing anyone to believe or do anything, and I never have. But I am going to say what I want to say about the matter, and no one can stop me. Obviously not, right? They can only stop me if I'm harming other people, and I'm not. I'm just upsetting people that obviously suffer from anxiety and depression, you know. Bear in mind, the police were called because Youssef said a horrible thing about me that he thinks he heard me say 2 months ago. And the police come knocking at my door yesterday. That's catastrophization, you know. He said this stuff, I heard him say this stuff 2 months ago, and he's making YouTube videos and he's still upset with my father. It's like, I'm still going to be upset with Maroon, I'm still going to be upset with Saeed, I'm still going to be upset with Majid, I'm still going to be upset with Mat'am Miroza, I'm still going to be upset with my father, I'm still going to be upset with a lot of people that harm me and are still harming me to this day. The police coming to my house isn't, you know, some sort of attempt for them to build bridges, you know, it's for them to continuously sort of, you know, stomp that drum of like, you know, no, I'm the victim, Andrew hurt me, Andrew hurt me, Andrew hurt me. And it's like, dude, that family had a lot of problems before I started working with them, you know, and I believe that what I'm doing is slowly revealing, you know, their issues that have been festering for decades, you know. I said that all I wanted was a mediation, you know, for this matter to be resolved, for the family to talk, and that's slowly beginning to happen, which is great, you know. I mean, it's not the best way that I want it to happen, you know, it's through lawyers, but I'm going to talk, and I think by virtue of me talking, other people will feel more comfortable talking, and that's the overall, you know, that's the overall purpose of what I'm doing, you know, to let people see that, you know, a backstage view, you know, a really intimate view of a community that is considered to be very strong and stoic and, you know, good, but we're fallible just like everyone. And these issues that we're facing are really, really kind of just embarrassing, you know, that artworks cause so much vitriol in the Lebanese Maronite community, and comments, you know, have the police come to someone's house like over a dozen times. And I understand that they have the right to call the police if they feel harmed, and they can make up whatever, you know, story. And you know, I'm not saying that they're making up a story. I'm saying that they are ruled by demons in their head, and I call those demons anxiety and depression. I really just want today to be about Tony's memory and about the good in the family and the good in the community. Whenever the police get involved, it brings us right back to, the 80s, right, where all this sort of stuff started. The Civil War and with, the drug industry in Sydney and in King's Cross. I really wish the best for my family. I wish the best for Tony's family, man. Yusuf, Halim, Nana, Sharbel, Mart Kholi Salam, Kholi Mansour, We'll be alright. It'll be fine. Everything works out well in the end. So, with this period, I'm just kind of trying to bear down as much as possible and move forward, even though I know that I have members of my family that are adamant about trying to cripple me, are trying to resign me to the hell that they created for themselves, right? This is, what happens when people don't talk. This is what happens when people believe rumors. This is what happens when people make assumptions. A lot of people get hurt. And I perpetuated a lot of rumors and I made a lot of wild assumptions. And I'm really happy to say that I've come back full circle, and I know what to do moving forward. And I have a really good feeling about the future, which I didn't have for a very, very long time, because that was deprived from me by my family. Yeah. But this video is just about love for Tony and his memory, And by the way, Tony would have loved the podcast. I know that for certain. And he would have got such a kick out of the audio messages. Even the one, he would have loved the one where I'm having a go at his brother Halim. Because Halim's got depression and anxiety, obviously. He's dealing with a tragic death in his family. And I want to help him as much as possible, That Mary statue is a beautiful symbol, It faces their house, right? Because what I was saying in that audio message was incomplete, right? It was a cynical take on, a figure that I was seeing when I passed his house. The Mary statue, keeps his family safe as well, right? And so it just as easily reads as a symbol of a family that loves each other, that wants to stick together, that Mary's facing the house because that house deserves Mary's love. I'll tell you what, Tony is in that blessing as well, because I brought attention to that statue, and I want people to understand that it's a good symbol. Symbols like that don't really die. It's really about the value and the meaning that people imbue into them. My criticism is that he should be that he should work towards being the best version of himself, so that statue can sort of be turned around and he could start sort of, shining his love out to the community rather than needing the community to protect him. I'm talking about Halim, obviously, That's just my sort of 2 cents on the matter. I don't really read Halim as this strong sort of man, even though he is, but that's not, the image, right? That's the image that he wants to project because he wants to be strong for his parents, but, he's hurting, obviously, and I love him. I love his little beautiful, hairy toes, up until, up to, his little beautiful earlobes that he used to rub, and his little thumb that he used to suck when he was a kid. He's an adult that, is still a lot like, his childhood self, and in a lot of ways you don't really grow out of that. You just get better at covering, all that sort of stuff. But, in the end, he's just the boy that is going through a tough time, you know, that needs comfort from, you know, other people. I think that talking about stuff is always a good thing, you know, sharing your truth. And by the way, sharing your truth, not declaring it, not forcing your truth on other people, just saying it, posting it, you know. Everything that I am saying on these podcasts, and all the audio messages are a result of me being blocked out, locked out, right? Being kicked out, being cast out. I still have something to say, and my family refuses to hear it, and they're so offended by what I'm saying that they constantly call the police, when really what I'm saying is just milquetoast, bog standard kind of stuff, you know, real run-of-the-mill criticism of Christianity, by the way, you know, and it's just mild criticism from someone that's inside the church, which, you know, is fine. I think today will be a good day, be a good weekend. You know, there's a lot of great stuff in the future to look forward to, you know, and that's really all that I want to be about. And that's what I want this message to be about on this hallowed, beautiful 40 days, 40 days after day, you know. Ugh. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. All right. Love you. Bye.